Do chatbots actually help, or are they just irritating?
It helps. Institutions which have got hundreds and thousands of people like JP Morgan or State Bank of India or HDFC or ICICI, policies or procedures or process, if it is measured and monitored, and if any questions comes in.
How does AI impact sustainability in banking operations?
The very fact it is going to be digital banking. You have clearly a concept of less transportation, less physical visits, operational efficiency in terms of process, procedures, policies.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Green Generation podcast, where we decode how technology, sustainability, and conscious leadership can go hand in hand. I am Shruti Seetharaman, a sustainability advocate, a media entrepreneur, and your host for today's episode. And joining me today is Dr. Seetharaman, a sustainability advocate, banker, and author of Corporate Consciousness. And today we're talking about AI in banking operations. Welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to shoot right up is a very simple question. When I open a bank account digitally, say, what role can or does AI play if there was AI in banking operations?
AI integrates everything, your documentation, the accuracy, your Aadhaar card, your PAN card. So the KYC principles are very, very important. Know your customer. That's the primary check the bank has got when you open an account. And AI integrate these requisites and give you the information if there is a mismatch.
Yeah.
That's essential, because otherwise it takes days and weeks to open an account. Now it instantly tells you what exactly the mismatch, if at all. Otherwise, the account gets open instantly.
Yeah, and you use lesser paper, which means greener banking, which you've always been an advocate for.
From sustainability perspective, everything is digital. Yeah. So digitally connected, again, your facial expression is measured, and everything goes in tandem, and instantly you can open an account in a few minutes, and your rest of the requisites are taken care.
Fair. And now that we've spoken about opening the bank account, the question is, can AI also detect fraud in daily transactions moving forward after that?
Absolutely. The banks have got, banks like State Bank, HDFC, ICICI, Axis, they're all running through AI in terms of the overall transactions. So any fraudulent transactions, the patterns are visible for to AI to recognize this is a mismatch, this is not normal. Suspicious activity report is generated instantly, and it gets into the right hands. So the account opening is not action, or any fraud during the transaction time is also prohibited.
Yeah, so customers are happy.
It is an absolute opportunity for us to recognize, instead of manually checking the suspicious transactions, now everything is in fingertips.
Yeah, and considering we're in the digital era where online scams have almost become like second nature, I think this is a very helpful way to sort of trace back and get it reported and get it sorted.
See, AI simply analyze the pattern.
Yeah.
If it is a trade finance transaction, it can look at the rate, the routes. It can look at the pricing patterns. It can look at the KYC or AML. If it's a retail banking transactions, because operation is encompassing everything. Yeah. So if it is a retail banking transaction, it knows there is a conflict in the product or the person. So fraud monitoring is easy. And again, it's all predictive intelligence, forecasting. If there are suspicious transactions, before it is actually happening,
it can
preventing.
Predict.
Yeah, that's neither the other, predictive intelligence.
Okay, and now a very interesting question is, how does AI make sure that ATMs never really run out of cash?
Absolutely. See, if you have AI in the system, it knows the pattern when there is urgency in terms of refilling, where there is a seasonal outflow. For example, festival days or weekends, you need to have more fillings. So in normal days, the requisites are different. Special days, the requisites are different. AI monitors this. It has got enormous amount of intelligence to interpret the information based on the calendar and activity in the past, present, and then set you up in terms of predictive cash flow requirements, and then refill the ATMs. It saves time, it saves transportation, and again, it's a greener banking, end of the day.
Yeah, less transportation for emergency, refueling. Saves fuel because there's no emergency trips to replenish cash, right?
Yeah.
So it is greener in a way. But I now want to talk about check processing because it's still quite outdated as a process.
Yeah.
So how does that work if we had AI involved?
See, millions of checks daily flow in a bank like State Bank or Emirates NBD, or HSBC.
Yeah.
Imagine. So tens of millions of checks. So worldwide, if you look at it objectively, optical processing, that's going to help you to do the matching concept and weed out those which are exceptions. In the process, the check clearing is instantaneously happening, and it's connected to the central bank clearing as well. So it's a beautiful tool. Image processing is the way which practically we have been adopting over the digital advantage. Now, with AI in the flow, it's faster than ever.
Yeah, and it reduces the risk of human error, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, and now the question is, I think we did dwell a little bit about it in our previous episodes, but since we talked about preemptively predicting defaults that AI can do, can it also predict loan defaults ahead of time?
Why not? So if you look at the equated monthly installments, it sees a trend, the capacity of the borrower. If there are slippages, consistent repayment is not there, it identifies those customers and it put them in red zone. Red flag is shown to you.
Yeah.
So easily you can see these are technically irregular customers. At any time, it can turn out to be, substandard or doubtful or bad.
And reduces financial crisis, right?
If you look at a subprime crisis, the global financial crisis on housing market
Smarter
on account of loan defaults, when the market collapsed, when overinflated house prices, when the depression started, typically the downward trend turned into a major collapse in the system.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so a financial crisis can be avoided, yes.
Okay, and now for a very important question from a customer point of view. Do chatbots actually help, or are they just irritating?
No, it helps. Telephone banking, imagine, you have to dial in all the buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, institutions which have got hundreds and thousands of people like JP Morgan or State Bank of India or HDFC or ICICI, policies or procedures or process, if it is measured and monitored, and when any questions comes in, right? Regular updates are there, online real time. Any customer questions immediately answered. Any staff queries immediately answered. Any regulatory questions immediately answered. Product details immediately answered. That's the purpose of chatbot. If you look at Axis Bank, is a major successful one, I should say.
That's been answering a lot of questions 24/7, right?
That's right, yes.
And then that allows for you not to have physical branches, which is again greener.
That's an advantage. See,
infrastructure footprint.
The more you mechanize transaction-based processing, you should put it into systems so that you don't need to have physical space or a number of people to manually run the enterprise.
Yeah, and we did talk about how reducing paper, for example, initiating a loan, but how does AI actually help banks largely go paperless?
Paperless simply because the transaction-based processing, where there is no discretionary element involved, the products are visible, the criteria are clearly endorsed by AI, and know your customer policy operates. Again, AI distills, is there any lacuna in the frame? Otherwise, it endorses the transaction. The criteria are met, it's a scorecard. A risk-weighted scorecard, automatically measured by AI, and the customer is eligible or not, instantly it responds.
That's great. And now if we talk about compliance, right?
Yeah.
It can help monitor regulations, correct?
No question. If you look at the big picture world over, I used to run Doha Bank, United States operations in Wall Street. branch was there for a very long time. And after 2001, the Patriot Act was put through. So you had all sort of problems being from this part of the world. Essentially, the compliance was cost prohibitive, I should say. So we had to manually check every single transaction, every single remittances. Few banks were operating from the Gulf in the United States, and we were one of the exceptions. So essentially, you have to go through physically every single transactions for clearing or collections or remittances.
Well.
And you have to make sure there is no anti-money laundering. And compliance form is very vital to see through anti-money laundering, combating financing terrorism. There are provisions, global governance is set in. We need to adopt them. So AI comes in very handy. Everything systems, in a few seconds it throws the exceptions, and we don't need to manually check in anything. Patterns are visible.
Yeah, and now that we've spoken a little bit about how AI can help in terms of banking operations, the question is, how can AI also help bank employees?
Absolutely, it helps you in many forms. If it is, staff queries, everything is there, policies and procedures and process. If it is a reconciliation, for example, it's a manual labor. I used to run the management services, including finance and accounts and risk management. We know how much matching we have to do in terms of reconciliation. Otherwise, frauds can take place. So here, AI throws the mismatch, essentially reconciliation, where the central bank reconciliation or Nostro reconciliations, it gets immediately done. That's the efficiency we are talking about. That's the speed we are talking about in terms of AI.
Yeah, and I think it also, sort of helps to remove or eliminate all of the boring paperwork or the tedious work that you have to do, which allows for employees to focus a lot more on strategic thinking and planning and all the other work that they can focus their energy on, right?
That's right. It lifts the quality of the job. A repetitive task, manual work, now it's all getting eliminated now. And your clarity comes in terms of upgrade of your jobs, strategies, thinking where it is required. We need bankers, core bankers.
Yeah, and does that also mean that AI then improves branch efficiency?
It is.
Yeah.
In terms of policies, procedures, process. When it comes to branch efficiency, productivity per employee, profitability per employee, operational cost per employee. So if you automate everything, the automation gives you enormous amount of value advantage, and transaction-based processing, when it comes through multiple channels, the average cost comes down instead of manual interface. And AI, if it is synchronized, all the channels are unified, you get instant, performance in terms of tracking, endorsing your transactions, and even if there is risk management to be exercised, it shows the exceptions.
Yeah, and much like, for example, social media, for example, as a content creator, when you have a public profile, there's a dashboard that tells you what the peak hours are. I'm sure AI is able to do the same with banking in terms of what are your peak hours when you have customers. So then you allot employees to work.
Capacity building you can do.
Yeah.
For example, season time, for celebration, Diwali time or Eid's time in the Gulf, you have flow of transactions are more, people visits are more. So you can build the capacity in those exceptions.
Absolutely.
So that is what the purpose of AI is all about. Predictive intelligence. It tells you in advance you have to, beef up the number of staff. Otherwise, you can run lean and smart.
Okay, and now to encompass all of that, the question is, how does AI impact sustainability in banking operations?
The very fact it is going to be digital banking. You have clearly a concept of less transportation, less physical visits, and again, less paper, operational efficiency in terms of process, procedures, policies. And the overall, if you look at the speed and accuracy, clearly it is sustainable.
Yeah.
It means you use core bankers for specific tasks where there are thinking required.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful green banking.
Absolutely. And you think that AI can also help improve financial inclusion?
It is. If you look at the microfinancing, rural-urban divide is always there. We have to understand enormous opportunities there to be inclusive. Even the downtrodden can be included, and account opening can take place. The digital commerce is taking place, mobile commerce is taking place, internet commerce is taking place, even in rural areas today. An average person who earns, less than $1 is able to transact and make the settlements in real time. That's the value advantage digital banking is giving.
Absolutely.
It's a huge sustainable value creation, huge financial inclusion.
Yeah, and I think it brings us down again to that one question of, can AI actually replace bank jobs?
Well, I wouldn't say it upgrades. It transforms the work patterns. It is repetitive tasks are automated, and again, you have thinking job to do as bankers. Relationship management or judgment we need to make, or measuring certain specifics in terms of overall policies. So essentially, this type of strategic thinking is what is getting into active play for bankers.
Yeah.
That's not boring,
Yeah.
So you find efficiency in the making.
Yeah, because it removes the boring work. It does the boring work for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and now the question is, I think you did dwell a little bit about it, but how do you think AI actually predicts or detects system failures?
It is predictive maintenance, predictive intelligence. It will tell you there is a possibility of engine coming down. And machine learning is a process by which it throws the possible indicators saying that better you watch. This is going to be out of line in few minutes if it is computer. It in addition to compute, it also create enormous amount of predictive maintenance, predictive intelligence for you to measure and map those risks and then fix this upfront without waiting for the accident to happen.
Yeah. And talking about that, then does that mean it also allows to reduce operational cost in general?
Absolutely. The efficiency in terms of AI, if it is embedded into the complete banking operation systems, you save people because you need only quality job needs to be executed by people. Repetitive task, whether machine learning through or AI, is integral. So overall language becomes very different, and you save in terms of space, because again you don't need to man so many people, unlike everything is manual. So you are saving people, you are saving in the process or policies or procedures. Everything is now, we talked about automated chatbot. We also have clarity in terms of the efficiency and speed. It means cost efficiency comes in.
And what about vendor payment checks? Does AI help with that also?
It is. It is. When it comes to supply chain, especially trade transactions, you can easily see where exactly there is a duplication, where exactly there is non-compliance, where there is manipulation in terms of invoices, or if the vendor rating is poor and if you're still buying out, and what sort of reorganization required in terms of pricing. All these are factored through AI, and it gives you the right kind of message to see that you don't duplicate, you operationally ensure the right payments are made on right time.
I mean, this is super helpful for me as a business owner. I think this is great and so much more efficient, especially because I travel back and forth running it remotely, and I think for a lot of other people also to spend less time on it, something that can help you and preemptively sort of predict when it can happen. So that means it can predict suspicious activity in every way or form.
That's right. Suspicious activity. As I said, if you have duplicate invoice, if there are different reasons to mismatch it, right? And if it is inserted in the system by willful, action, then AI will detect. It will throw that it's not payable. It will throw you the numbers. It will show you where exactly it is manipulated. So the checkpoints are very clear in terms of the overall efficiency. There will not be any duplication.
So what do you think about AI or softwares or apps that help with auditing for
100% or scan, not selectively. Random sampling we don't do. We 100% check the data. If you have such distillation process, so it's easy for you to be efficient, isn't it? Then the job of the auditor is to system-assisted audit techniques to use and make sure you pick up the threads and ensure that whatever the possible action required on those transactions only, suspicious transaction only, you have to act. Or the sampling is already done for you. You don't need to manually check. And 100% everything is exposed to you. System tells you these are the wrong transactions. And so any violation, any exceptions, everything is thrown to you.
Bookkeeping becomes simpler, right?
That's right.
Okay, and so you think largely that AI is contributing to long-term sustainability in banking?
In terms of authority, authenticity, validity, accuracy, and again, there's efficiency and speed. There is a tremendous amount of value advantage by incorporating artificial intelligence into every part of the banking operations.
Okay, and what would you say as a closing statement is the bigger picture in everything related to AI in banking?
Banking is transforming through AI. This is a new world order, and we can run lean and smart, and we can make it more commercially viable, and we can also truly allow the people interaction for strategic thinking. The repetitive task is now automated, and overall banking is more responsible banking and ethical banking as well. So the idea is not only for one stakeholder, not the customer, not the regulators, not the shareholders, not only the human capital. You have everyone, and socially responsible more than anything else. It's all impacting in terms of artificial intelligence, and that's the way to go forward.
Yeah, and I think what we're saying is that AI quietly powers banking operations, and that means sustainability quietly adopts AI.
Well said. That's the essence of it. It is artificial intelligence which drives the transformation for a long-term prosperity for all the stakeholders.
Very, very interesting. Okay, so if you enjoyed watching this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you in the next one.